welcome to the Secure Dynamics TechCast. I have with me two former guests. I have Marnie Wilking, who is the global head of security and technology risk management at Pfeiffer. Welcome back, Marnie.
Thank you, Ashwin. I'm so happy to be here.
And I have Wendy Pfeiffer, who is the CIO at Nutanix. Welcome back, Wendy.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So a timely topic. So as all of you are aware, we had a pretty severe outage earlier this week at Google, which seemed to have affected, I think, Gmail, YouTube, and a few other services. And there have been a few articles about it, especially since this comes in the wake, I think, an AWS outage about a couple of months ago and Microsoft before that and so forth. And one of the articles was really talking about you need to identify your critical assets and maybe have an on-prem version of that in case of something like this happens, right? So it's definitely not the prevailing wisdom about, hey, go all in on the cloud, but it certainly has raised issues, especially I think this hit when kids were going to school, East Coast time, schools open, they couldn't access the Gmail and all other stories that are coming out of it. So Marnie, starting with you. So where do you think we're headed right now? And clearly, I mean, the cloud journey has started, it's not stopping, but has this at least raised awareness of what should be happening from a IT risk management and availability perspective?
Yeah, and I think people have been talking about it for a while, but I think this issue with AWS and then with Google has really sort of brought it to the forefront again. And it's like, I don't want to focus too much on the public cloud sector, because honestly, a lot of the movement to the cloud that we've seen, especially during COVID, has been partly to AWS and Azure and GCP for ease of use, but also to more cloud SaaS services. And so, there's the same opportunity for something to happen if you're all in with Salesforce or all in with some other SaaS provider. I think organizations have been talking about it for a while. I think classifying assets is a really, really great place to start. You want to understand what your important things are, but you also need to understand what your important processes are. How do you build that resilient memory in your organization? By talking with people about what are the things that if you can't do, we couldn't live with without a business. And if that's really the case, then how do we plan for that? I wouldn't say everybody should go out and build an on-prem instance of everything, because that's not likely the right thing to do. But I definitely advocate talking about these things during tabletop exercises and making sure that you've got the leadership team in those tabletop exercises as well, so that they can hear and understand what the potential issues are, and then make those trade-offs in spend and risk to make sure that the business can continue running.
Wendy, your thoughts?
Well, Marnie, I so like that advice, that first, thoughtfulness, engaging the what if conversations, and then figuring out how to move forward. I can tell you as a public company CIO that for a long time we've used a portfolio management approach to how we run. IT portfolio management is sort of famous, right? We need to have multiple vendors with whom we work. We need to have multiple consumption models and multiple scaled out models, because things happen. Not just now during times of COVID, although that COVID is a big shift, is a big pivot. And so, in fact, this is really timely, Ashwin. We just published a survey that we did with the help of Vance and Bourne, surveyed 3,400 CIOs and CTOs in companies all around the world. And we've been doing this for a few years. It's called the Enterprise Cloud Index. And the results, one more year, were fairly specific. 86% of those who responded said that running hybrid cloud is their preferred model of operations. And that means running some workloads on premise and some workloads in public cloud, and usually more than one public cloud. And so how do you do that cost effectively, securely? How do you automate across those various substrates? Those are challenges that we have, and a lot of the respondents, more than 70%, said that this time of COVID, and we're doing hybrid work and hybrid school and hybrid everything, has been pushing on that hybrid cloud model and accelerating their journey to that model. And we see swings, from on-premise to public cloud. We see swings from one cloud to another to have that optionality and resiliency. And we see swings from public cloud back to on-premise. That mixed model, I think, just like a mixed model of remote and on-site work and remote and on-site school, I think it's here to stay.
So switching gears a little bit and focusing on, let's say, the smaller enterprises, right, where they go all in. I mean, let's say I'm a virtual chiropractor. That practice actually exists. I figured out.
Virtual chiropractor?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't ask me how they do it, but they apparently do it. But the point is, I mean, let's say I used to have the small business. I used to have people coming in. I used to have handwritten notes and so forth, right? And then I went in all digital, right? And I went and let's pick your favorite cloud, doesn't matter, right? And something like this happens, my entire business is gone. So the question is, I mean, Marnie, you talked about tabletop exercise, right? I mean, I'm running a small business, and for me, I have no idea what IT means, right? So in some sense, is there more responsibility that the cloud providers have to take to understand like what works, what doesn't work? Should I take on a 5G backup? I don't know what that means, right? So how does a small, medium business kind of navigate through this exact same challenge that we're all facing?
Yeah, that's a really great question, because I think there is a sense, particularly in small and mid-sized businesses who might not have a lot of experience here, that maybe the cloud takes care of everything, or there's also the perception that the cloud doesn't do anything for us, really, that we go into the cloud and we still have to do all the things. And the answer is really someplace in the middle, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done around reviewing those contracts, making sure you understand what the SLAs are, making sure that you understand what the cloud providers' commitments are should they not be able to meet those SLAs. And then again, making sure if you think there might be an issue, maybe go hybrid, maybe go back to that pencil and paper if you need to, trying to understand what sort of business continuity you're going to need in case of an issue. But it really is important to sit down with your cloud provider and your rep and understand what do they do for you, particularly around IT resilience, around security, around uptime, and then talk through what are the bad things that could happen if they don't meet those things, and then make some decisions on the contractual agreement.
Wendy.
Yeah, I agree with everything that Marnie is saying, and I would just add, this is one of those real world logic things. It's suspenders and belt, right? Always have a couple of methods at your fingertips. Now, one of the nice things about public cloud environments is that we can spin them up quickly. So even having something on standby where you're not consuming capacity in the short term, but being able to spin that up relatively quickly. You need to have some knowledge of how to do things efficiently. I like to tell companies that don't have a lot of money, make sure that you are using software and technology that has open APIs that can be integrated with other software. Write code once and use it many times. Another option, which I think is a really good one, that's sort of hitting the easy button, is taking a look at service providers, at SaaS providers. Often, SaaS providers, for a service fee plus, a little bit of a premium or a support contract, will offer access to resilient environments and resilient services. And so often that's a great kind of middle road for a small to mid-sized company as they're starting up.
Great conversation. I know, yeah, these are difficult times, and the over reliance on our digital highways are more important than ever, right? So again, great insight. Always great chatting with you. Stay safe and thanks.
Thank you.